All right, so we got another bad cop, no donut. This is going to be from the state newspaper from Columbia, South Carolina, from the state newspaper. Columbia police thought he was a gallery intruder. He was a resident artist. That was quite an incredible headline when I read it, but I'm from South Carolina. I spent most of my time while I was in the state in Columbia, so I very much understand the police there. They are quite exceptional, quite exceptional. Let's get into the story here. John Sims thought neo-Nazis were about to kill him early Monday morning. Mind you, this was published on May 21st. In the gallery adjacent to his loft apartment at 701 Center for Contemporary Arts on Whaley Street. In the gallery adjacent to his loft apartment at 701 Center for Contemporary Arts on Whaley Street, he created art that put Confederate flags in nooses and reimagined the flag with lace and silky cloth and pink hearts in place of the stars. He thought his art might have caused a visceral reaction that was about to get him murdered, he said. A gun was pointed at him and a person was yelling at him. When he saw the badges, he still wasn't sure they weren't white supremacists. He thought the people saying they were Columbia police officers might have been imposters. So he made this art to basically mock the flag or just to reimagine it, basically take the symbol of hate and turn it into something different. He's not one of those type of guys, right? Like one of those right-leaning guys. He's very much a left-leaning guy, but he was basically taking the symbol of hate and trying to reimagine it, basically, where he put pink hearts in the place of freaking stars, or he made silk and lace and silky cloth, and he put the Confederate flag in a noose, which is very symbolic. And he's the actual artist that was doing this. And the police thought he was a freaking intruder. It is amazing. If it's the Klan, I'm not about to have some wine and cheese and a discussion, Sims said at a Tuesday talk about his art and the experience with Columbia Police Department, moderated by Dr. Bobby Donaldson, a civil rights historian at USC. It's an experience that Sims said the nation has seen end with innocent black men dead. I mean, seriously, this guy was being accosted by police officers for absolutely no reason. This demonstrates that had those officers been a part of the local community, they might have known this guy was an artist. They might have known that this was his actual exhibit. I gotta ask the question. I know who this guy is. I spent most of my life in South Carolina. I've actually heard of this man. I know myself, he's an artist. He's known for this stuff. You could have simply Googled him. You could have simply asked around. They approached him with guns drawn. The Columbia Police Department says its officers were investigating a potential break-in at the center. The officers acted almost perfectly with one exception, the department said. On Thursday, the department released the body camera footage of the incident. At about 2 a.m. on May 17th, a Columbia police officer noticed a door was open at the 701 Center, which is also a popular event space according to a police report. The officer called dispatch and said he was going to search the place for a possible intruder or to see if anyone was in trouble, a police report said. Two backup officers arrived and the officers entered the building with guns drawn following their training. It's proper protocol for officers to have their guns out when they search a building for a possible crime, a department spokesperson said in a statement, which is so stupid. That sounds insane, but if that's your protocol, that would explain their paranoia and their itchy trigger fingers. Sims had seen what looked like flashlights shining into his loft apartment. That's when he started to believe white supremacists might be after him for his art, he said. Sims had been staying at the 701 Center as the artist in residence since early May. So he'd been there for almost a month. So there's no way these officers were regularly patrolling this area if he's been living at the 701 Center. And I've been there. I know where their place is. So if he's been there for over 2 weeks, and you have been on patrol for at least that amount of time, there is no way in the world someone could be living at a place and you have no idea that person was damn there. Come on now. He went into the loft's bathroom to try to call the police, but had no cell phone signal. So he was trying to call the police on the police because he had no idea it was the damn police that had essentially broke into his damn apartment. Because again, essentially that's what happened here. They had no reason to even be there. He lives there. He has every right to leave any door open that he wants. It is their responsibility to know who's in there. If they've been there for over a damn 2 weeks and you are cops, holy shit, they had no idea what was going on in their own damn neighborhood. The officers entered the apartment and Sims eventually came out of the loft bathroom. With his first glimpse of the officers, he saw the guns drawn on him. The officers yelled for him to put his hands up, but didn't do it at first. Still thinking the men with badges and guns might be white supremacists in disguise. Again, all he knows is that people have entered into his place for no reason. He knows he's done nothing wrong. He's tried to call the police. There is no signal. When things like that start happening, you start going through all kind of like horror movie type of scenarios. Again, people panic, which is understandable. He's not expecting this. The man's not a freaking Rainbow Six Siege operator. He's a fucking artist. He's not trained for this shit. The officer shouted more commands at Sims. Sims wanted the officers to give more identification than simply saying that they were police. Sims put his hands up as officers commanded. An officer went up the loft stairs to detain Sims. That's when the armed officer holstered his gun, according to reports. The officer pulled Sims' arms behind him to cuff him, the police report said. Sims explains he was the artist in residence, he said. It kept him in what police call investigative detention for about 8 minutes while they checked his identification and ran it through a wanted criminal database. Officers saw clothes and bedding in the loft, a report said. Those items, along with the database clearing Sims, prompted police to uncuff Sims, who was shaken but not physically hurt. Even though he escaped relatively unharmed, Sims questioned whether the police would have put a white woman in handcuffs. Would she have been treated the same? He wondered. He had other concerns about the incident. He was immediately treated like an intruder without any other considerations, and detaining him wasn't necessary, he said. Again, it wasn't. I think white supremacists did come for you. It's just that we so casually call them police officers.